Sam Seder, Emma Vigeland on the Majority Report. Pleasure to welcome back to the program Elie Mystal, justice correspondent and columnist at The Nation magazine. Elie, always a pleasure.
Hey, Sam, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay, all things
Emma,
considered.
what's up?
Hey, it's nothing much. Talking to you now.
Nothing much. Kind of like the Supreme Court and the Donald Trump immunity decision, right? Nothing much happening, apparently.
You know,
if there's any time pressure.
There's really nothing to talk about it except for, like, it sort of give away the game. It sort of gave away the game at the beginning, when they first said this. But this is a case that's been sitting on the desk for months now. And it's one thing to say, like, hey, we can't answer this in a week because this is a big deal. But you would think that, like, when they start announcing cases, we sort of prioritize this one because the guy's running for president and he's the nominee of the Republican Party.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care about protecting the democracy. I think that there are two issues going on here. One, they actively want to make sure that Trump has an opportunity to run for president without this Jack Smith possible conviction hanging over him, right? That is a political, partisan decision on the part of the 6 conservative justices. And I've tried to explain to people, it's beyond their desire to see Trump reelected is beyond just the normal partisan politics, or they're Republicans and they like Republicans. Understand, Clarence Thomas is old, right? He knows he's not going to be around forever. Samuel Alito, as much as we like to joke about Alito and the flag and his obviously cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs wife, one of the subtexts of these flag stories is how much they hate DC. And this has actually been underneath Alito's entire career. He hates DC. His wife hates DC. He doesn't actually like the job. He loves the power. He doesn't actually like the job, right? Alito is not a guy who wants to die in his chair in DC. He wants to be fishing with drug executives and going to Phillies games, right? Well, so for both Thomas and Alito, Trump winning is key to their life retirement plans.
And we should say that Martha Alito, in that conversation recorded by Lauren Windsor at that party, she said, I'm going to get back at them. And there's a 5-year statute of limitations for defamation. And so, like, if she thinks that she's going to be able to bring a defamation suit within 5 years, that is her signaling that they're going to be off the court within the next 4 or 5 years. The hope being Donald Trump gets elected, and that's the exit. And it makes perfect sense with Thomas and Alito. They, unlike, someone like Breyer or Ginsburg for that matter, or frankly, Sotomayor, they understand that this is a political thing, and I want to go out and give the opportunity to be replaced by someone exactly like me, if not worse.
The Republicans, and I was just researching this for a piece, the Republicans have had a majority on the Supreme Court since Earl Warren retired in 1969. All right, we think about the current kind of Republican control of the court as something relatively recent. Mitch McConnell, Merrick Garland. No. They've controlled the court since the 70s, right? Now, not all of the Republican appointments have been as hardcore right-wing extremists as the current version of it, right? But the Republican-appointed Supreme Court justices have been in the majority for the entirety of my natural life. And one of the reasons why is that they have been brutal, efficient, and strategic with their retirements.
Yeah.
Right. They understand when the white writing is on the wall and they get out at the opportune moments. The Democratic judges, the liberal justices, they don't. And I think part of the problem is this idea that each individual, I think this problem, I'm going to cast aspersions, but full no, I have not been imbued with lifetime power. Who knows how I might change should anybody tell me that that I can never be fired and genuflect to me as I walk down the aisle. But I think what happens, especially with the liberals, is that they get really invested in their own greatness, right? In their own selves, in their own indispensability. And they think, as Ginsburg thought, nobody could be like me. I'm Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Nobody could be like me. I'm Thurgood Marshall. Nobody could be like me. Perhaps now I'm Sonia Sotomayor. This is not a problem Republicans have. Republicans understand that they themselves are not special. Their vote is special. Right. So when the opportune moment comes, be it Anthony Kennedy, Sandra Day O'Connor, Clarence Thomas coming up if Trump wins, they step back and let the next generation of hardcore conservatives take their place. It is an asymmetrical war, and it's one of the wars that the liberals have lost hard over the past 50 years.
Is that indicative of the fact that the Republicans and conservative judicial activists have these major institutions that wield so much more power, where they can basically say, your time is up, buddy, we need a new fresh body in here, versus liberals and Democrats not having the same judicial processes? They're catching up a little now, but historically, like in terms of vetting these justices, where they can become almost celebrities as opposed to hired guns.
I think it's more that this is going to sound really rude, and I don't mean it as rude as it sounds. Republicans, they're basically the same three people, right? Like if you think about the Republican Party, you think about Republican justices, they are the same guy cut from the same socioeconomic cloth that believes a very small set of similar things. I mean, to not be rude, you can barely tell them apart, right? They all look the same to me. Whereas liberals with their big tent, I think our justices and our legal people in general just come from such varied backgrounds that it's hard to see yourself in the next generation, right? Like if you think about just going back to RBG, right? She wants to retire under the first woman president because she's sure that Hillary Clinton will appoint another strong woman in a way that she perhaps wasn't sure that a Barack Obama would. Now, there was no reason for her to worry about that, but you see what I'm saying? It's like that. And this goes through our whole judicial nominating and judge-making process. I've said many times, one of the reasons why the Republicans get to be the Republicans and the Federal Society has the power it does is because Leonard Leo can walk into all of the Republican constituencies and be like, hey, guys, trust me, I'm going to pick the judges, right? He can go to the NRA. Don't worry, I got your back. He can go to the religious right. I'm going to pick your judges. Flip that around to our side, right? Imagine me. I've got billions of dollars. I'm a smart guy. I'm like, I'm going to pick all the Democratic justices. And then I go to Sherilyn Ifill at the NAACP. And I'm like, hey, Sherilyn, I'm going to pick the judges. Send me your suggestions, right? And then I walk over to Lambada Legal. I'm like, hello, my fellow gays. I'm going to pick all the judges. Yes, I'm a cishet black guy. Don't worry about it. I got your back. And then I go to NARAL. I'm like, I'm going to pick all the judges. At some point, they're going to be like, who in the hell do you think you are? Right? Everybody in Democratic politics, it's like Little League baseball, man. Everybody gets to play. Everybody gets their turn at bat, whatever. Republicans, they're like a traveling basketball team. The 5 best players get to play. All the rest of y'all can sit on the bench.
And there's also this dynamic, which I think, we saw play out with Clarence Thomas, is where he wanted to retire and he was going around advertising to everybody, I need money. And all of a sudden, Leonard Leo shows up and it's like, I've got your new best friend. He's a billionaire. His name is Harlan Clarence. And then you guys, it's a love affair made in heaven. And Clarence Thomas has millions upon millions of dollars of benefit from this very close relationship he has with Harlan Crow. And I also say, what's also strikes me too is, that's one end of it. But the this notion of like retirement, the only other time we've seen anything like that was back in like the 1800s, late 1800s, where pensions were invented for judges to get them to retire at one point. Mm-hmm. Because, having a paid job at that point was a lot of value, but to get paid to not work is also a good thing for people.
For every federal court below the Supreme Court we have what's called senior status, right? A judge takes senior status. They keep their full salary. They can still sit on cases and issue opinions, but by being a senior person, they open up their seat so that the current president can replace them on the court. And this is, again, a place where Republicans on the lower circuits just outstrip the Democrats, because Republican judges on the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, on the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, they will take senior status under Republican administrations, so their seat on the Fifth Circuit, on the Fourth Circuit, on the Third Circuit can be replaced by a Republican, whereas liberal judges, not only are they relatively bad at taking senior status, when they decide it's time to go, they'll go regardless of who happens to be president. So you had liberal judges literally taking senior status under the Trump administration, so that Trump replaced them with Republicans. And it was just like, this is why we lose, guys. This right here, this is why we lose.
All right. Well, let's. So in the meantime, they have a reason to keep Donald Trump in office. They know that the later that they come out with this ruling about immunity, the more they can sort of slow walk this prosecution and guaranteeing at least that Donald Trump has a shot at winning the presidency again.
But Sam, can I give you my one bit of hope here? Because
asteroid.
The giant meteors. I'll say. All right, here's my one bit of hope. The thing that we heard from oral arguments suggested that what the conservatives wanted to do, what the Alitos wanted to do, was remand the case back to Judge Chutkan for further fact-finding. A remand would extend the time almost indefinitely, and then, on remand, it would be reappealed. So, like, they could have gotten Trump through the election just with the remand decision. Now, I still think that that's the leader in the clubhouse, but my one ray of hope is that since remand does all the time wasting that they need, maybe it's taking so long because the conservatives lost remand. And now the only way Sam Alito can delay the trial is by delaying his dissent until the very last possible day. Maybe that's now his only way to delay it, because he lost the remand argument. Now, again, that is
speculation,
me,
right?
Hopping on some Care Bears and trying to like a big dose of copium and candies and rainbows. My brain says no, it's already gone. It's just going to be a remand, whatever. But like, if you wanted some Care Bear hope, that's my unicorn for you.
So that's John Roberts saying to Alito, "Do you have your dissent ready?" And he's like, "Oh, geez, all this flag stuff. I promise I'll have it on Monday." And then Monday comes, and he's like, "You're not going to believe this, but the car, bro. Like, what do you think? Like, extend this? This is going to come out like late July." We should say that the longest. When is the longest? Like in this modern era, the latest thing I remember dropping is in like the first week of July. I don't remember any other cases going past that.
As long as I've been covering it, the court has never gone past July 4th. They shut it down by July 4th weekend. Now, technically, they don't have to, right? Like there's no rule that says they have to release opinions by the end of the term by July 1st. They can what's called relist cases, which means that kind of set them up for future argument in October. They could just hold their decision until whenever. The Supreme Court can hold a decision for as long as it wants. There's no statutory rule for when they have to release their opinions. However, historically, traditionally, I've never seen them go past July 4th.
All right, that sounds I mean, I guess we'll see.
Like this, my vacation starts July 4th, so I am counting on.
You have similar motivated reasoning to those members of the court in terms of just in a different direction. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.